Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sanity Games back with another Terraria mod showcase. This mod showcase is going to be on my must-have Terraria mods. Now, if you've played and beat vanilla Terraria, that means without any mods, from then on I pretty much recommend these mods for future Terraria playthroughs if you're getting into the modding scene. The first mod on the list is World Gen Previewer. Now, some people may or may not like this in their modded playthroughs. It's obviously going to vary from person to person. I personally like it because I can tell if I'm going to like a certain world generation or not. We're going to create a new world. Small. I'll just go for expert. And there, put 1. And as you can see with World Gen Previewer, it's going to give you a general idea of what your spawn's going to be like. I'm hoping the spawn is somewhere around here. I like it when I get certain snow biomes, and this one actually looks pretty interesting. Now I just like seeing stuff that you can do in here. Okay, so the spawn was over there. Obviously, the bigger your world is, the more time you have to look at the map, but at least gives you a general idea. You're not going to be able to spot everything, and I just kind of like that feeling that I get from there. Obviously, like I said, if you play on medium or larger worlds, the spawn rate of the map, or how much you're going to be able to see, is going to vary. Also going to vary depending on how fast your computer is as well. So, something I personally like to do when I play Terraria and start a new world. For the next mod, we have Boss Health Bar, which I honestly think you should have. As you can see, it makes so you can actually get a health bar without actually having to hover. See, I have to hover over the boss in order to normally see the health. And even then, it's kind of hard to see. So when you're going around fighting like this, trying to dodge him and whatnot, you're going to have a hard time. But with this, it is much easier to actually see how much health the boss you have has left. Which, in my opinion, very, very useful. I would say probably even on vanilla, just to have it like for all purposes, even before you actually get into the whole modding thing. This is one of those mods that I can see would just be nice to have even for a first playthrough. And it does work on bosses that are modded. I'm not sure if they have to do something special or if it just reads a certain thing, but from the mods that I've played, it seems to work on those as well. For the next mod on the list is called Max Stack Plus. Now this, some people are going to hate it, some people are love it. I personally love it. I definitely recommend it, especially if you're into the building. As you can see, the max stack goes all the way up to 9,999. Right there. The problem is, for some people, the health potions and the mana potions and pretty much everything goes up to 9,999. So some people are going to hate this, some people are going to love this. Like I said, the reason why I personally love it is, as you can see, gel, depending on what you're using, you're probably going to have several stacks of this just going through a normal playthrough, and you sometimes just want to get rid of a whole stack because you're in the middle somewhere, and you might not have the piggy bank quite yet. So little things like that really help this out, especially when you're in the building. You only have a max stack of 999 normally. Now, can you imagine having 10 times that amount for building? Look at that. 9,250 blue bricks. So you can just go out, spend your whole time focusing on, and you could have just build up a supply of building materials that you want to use for whatever build that you might be working on, and not have to worry about, or at least as much, of inventory management, which I don't mind it the first playthrough, but if I want to go through more playthroughs, I really don't care for inventory management. Even with this mod, you're still going to have inventory management problems. It's just not going to be the extent that it normally is, which is why I personally like Max Stack Plus. Next mod is called the Fast Start mod. I almost messed that up. Actually, I did mess that up. Basically, when you're creating a new character and you've played through Terraria, you might not like the beginning part of Terraria. You might find it too boring or too slow. Let's just create a character real quick. We'll call it 2. When you create a character and you play with it, whatever world you go on to first, let's just go on that one world I created earlier. You start off with some stuff If you have mods, might add some new stuff in there as well, and it's gonna be random. I have a gold helmet, lead chainmail, silver greaves, silver short sword, which is not really that great. So you kind of want to hopefully get a secondary weapon like this crystal weapon right here. That's pretty good. 19 damage. Pretty early on, that's significant, enough to speed it up, but not too significant where you're going to plow through all of early, or what I call it, pre-hard mode. You just also can get some accessories, like the shiny red balloon, and things like mana crystal and life crystals can be expected as well. The mount can vary, but you might actually get 0. And you sometimes get some healing potions. That's a modded item. I think this is a modded item as well. And then you get some arrows, shurikens, throwing knives, and even some recalling potions, which is pretty helpful early on. Now, we're going to create a secondary character to show you that it is random, and you might get something completely different. Let's create that one. Call you number 2. Go to the same world. As you can see, silver helmet this time, iron chainmail, gold greaves, platinum short sword this time. Still crap because I don't like the way it's thing. And this time we got a slime staff, which is pretty awesome. I definitely like. This would be pretty good if you want to create enough characters for a. And I've never seen this before, but we already got the money tro. What the heck is that? Okay, that was interesting. Must be one of the new mods I installed. And you got a diamond ring, which is actually pretty useful. I personally never keep this. You can actually, if you get something like that, some people may not like it. I'm not sure what mod that comes from, but I personally really don't care. That can give you, I think it's 40 gold, which I personally like, because if that traveling merchant comes, very, very useful for, what do they call it? Getting that mechanical fishing rod if he gets it, if he actually has it, because I usually get that early on. So overall, pretty useful for starting off and replaying Terraria. I definitely recommend this if you do not like the beginning part of Terraria and find it boring. The last mod on the list, it has changed a lot since I last covered it, or at least on certain items. It is called the Fargo's Mutant mod. And one of the features, it adds an NPC that will allow you to buy boss summon items. As you can see, be able to summon a lot of bosses, including modded bosses, which is why I personally like this mod, because it only allows you to buy them after you beat them originally. So if you haven't beaten Plantera or the Moon Lord or any of those things, you're not going to be able to buy the items in order to farm them. That includes for modded bosses as well, which is also pretty nice. Another feature is the Souls mod, or the Souls part of the mod, which used to be pretty powerful. This used to give you, the Souls of the Universe used to increase your HP by, I think it was 1,500, so you'd be at like 2,000 HP, or 2,000, over 2,000 HP if you use some of the other mods. Still pretty dang powerful. To give you an idea of how powerful this is, with the legendary admin sword at 11,508 damage, this is what the damage looks like. So you're looking at about 150 to 160,000 damage per second. When you increased the Souls of the Universe, which is the 6 souls combined into the one, you're at 520,000 damage per second. And then you also can equip some previous souls, like the Colossus Soul. Let's equip the Gladiator Soul, because that's melee. And now we're looking at about 740, 730, and peaking at around 750,000 damage per second, which is pretty insane. Now, you're not going to be getting this too easily. You have one for pretty much every class in the game. Sharpshooter, which is range damage. Archwizard, that's going to be magic. Conjurist, summoning. Colossus, which is basically if you want to tank. Shinobi, throwing damage. And the Gladiator is basically melee damage. Then you got the Souls of the Universe, which combines it all together. which is pretty insane. As you can see, increases your max number of minions by 10, increases your max mana by 140, increases max pickup range for mana stars and hearts, increases all knockback, grants the same effects of the Master Gear or Master Ninja Gear, which is pretty insane. And attacks may inflict debuff. So it's pretty powerful and it's pretty pain in the ass to farm. You're going to be collecting tons and tons of accessories from the vanilla game, or to combine it into just one of these souls. And then you gotta go and grab the one for like melee buffs, one for range buffs, and then once you get all these 6 souls, which is going to take a long time, then you combine those 6 into the soul of the universe, which is gonna be pain in the butt. You're probably not going to do this if you're just focused on trying to beat the bosses and not actually focusing on farming. And the last part of the mod is the Ancient Seal and the Mechanical Algorithm. Basically summons all 3 mechanical bosses, and the other one, the Ancient Seal, summons all bosses, modded included. So you're going to see a crap ton of bosses on the screen when you do it. Let's bring it nighttime, and I'll show you what I mean. As you can see, look at all those bosses. Especially if you had modded bosses. I even have a bunch of frame rate problems there, which is going to fill up your inventory as well. You're going to have some problems here. Some of these bosses, like that serpent there, whoops, I actually used the wrong weapon there, can only be damaged by attacking the head, so it could be a while. That's pretty much it for this video, though. Definitely recommend checking out all these mods. It can be somewhat too much on this last one. Some people may not really like that it adds those souls, but I mainly like it for the buying the, what do they call it? Buying farmable bosses like after you beat them. I shouldn't have to focus on like collecting the necessary resources. As you can see, now you got the Moon Lord. It does take a while, so it does at least give you time in order to fight the regular enemies. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.